Today we will discuss about parliamentary government of India, and from this chapter we will discuss about a particular topic, that is the role of the president. Now the president is the head of our Republic of India. He is elected by the electoral college that includes elected member of both houses of the parliament and the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. Very important. Next, we will come to the powers of the president. So first one, executive powers. The executive powers of the president are, first one, very important, the president appoints the prime minister and other ministers. Second one, he or she appoints the Attorney General of India and Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, the chairman and members of the UPSC, the governors of the state, and the chairman and the members of the finance commissions. So this is the executive power of our president or India's president. Then legislative powers of the president. First one, the president can summon or end a session of the parliament and dissolve the Lok Sabha. Important. Then he or she can summon a joint sitting of both of the houses of the parliament. Also very important. Now you have to do this one. The president can give or withhold any assent to a bill or return the bill for reconsideration to the parliament if it is not a money bill or a constitutional amendment bill. Very important. Next, financial powers. A money bill can be introduced in the parliament only when the president's recommendation. Okay? Only with the president's recommendation. Without that, a money bill cannot be introduced in the parliament. Next, the president lays the annual financial statement, the union budget, before the parliament. Important. Then diplomatic powers. International treaties and agreements are signed on behalf of the president. However, they are subject to approval of the parliament. So basically it means if the president, though the president give the permission or sign the agreement, but it have to be approved by the parliament. So it is not fully in hand of our president. Then the president represents India and international forums and affairs and may send and receive diplomats. Then the military powers of the president. The president is the commander-in-chief of the Indian Armed Forces. Very important. The president is the commander-in-chief of the Indian Armed Forces. Then the president can declare war and conclude peace subject to parliament's approval. So with parliament's approval, similar to this one, the president can declare war or conclude peace. Important. The president appoints the chiefs of army, navy and air force. Important. Next, the judicial powers. The president appoints the Chief Justice of the Union Judiciary and other judges on the advice of the Chief Justice. Very true. Then the president can dismiss judges if the two houses of the parliament passes resolution to that effect. So if they pass the resolution to dismiss that judge, so the president can agree or sign into that contract to dismiss that judge. The President of India can grant pardon to or reduce sentence of a convicted person for one time, that you know. So recently there was a case in Delhi Nirbhaya case. The victims are applied for presidential conviction, so but it was rejected by the president. The president enjoys judicial immunity, which means that no criminal proceedings can be initiated against him or her during the terms of service. Okay? And the last one, emergency powers of the president. First one, state emergency. It is declared when there is a failure of constitutional machinery in a state. Okay. Then national emergency. It can be declared at the time of war, armed rebellion or external aggression. Financial emergency. It can be declared if the financial stability of the country is threatened. So then, with the power of our president, the banks can acquire public's money and can use it to recover the national emergency or financial emergency state. Okay.